Hey guys, welcome to the Daisy Dates podcast, where I talk all things dating, mindset, heartbreak, dating apps, relationships, and absolutely everything in between. I'm Daisy, I'm your host. Welcome if it's your first time here. If it is, please go back and listen to all of the other episodes. If it's not, a massive warm welcome back. And well, this episode I wanted to talk about the rules on talking to other people when you're dating someone. This is a weird one, isn't it? Because my views always change on this, if I'm really honest. And it's kind of changed, I guess, depending on the excuses that I give myself sometimes. But let's just go off the advice I'm going to give you based on my most recent experience, which was when I was dating my current boyfriend and kind of talking to other people as well. So I was just in a really different mindset, I think, when I met my partner. And that's because I'd seen a lot of people on socials be like, you should be, talking to multiple people at once. You shouldn't be kind of putting all your eggs in one basket. And it used to get to me because I'd be like, I've always put my eggs in one basket. I've always done that, always and forever. But also, I am a loyal, genuine person, and I will never be able to go out there and date multiple people at once. And I wouldn't like it if it was done to me. It's been done to me loads and loads and loads. And actually, it's in this season that I'm really going to talk about a lot of personal stories like that I've not really shared properly before. So definitely follow and like the podcast to stay tuned with all of those dramas, but real life stories. But basically, I took on some advice and I was like, yeah, maybe I should just be making sure that I'm not deleting the apps too soon after dating someone. So, if you've been on 3 good dates, that doesn't mean that it is going to go somewhere. It used to. I think it used to 15 years ago. It doesn't anymore. I don't think it does anymore. It doesn't really mean anything. You could have a great dating experience for 6 months and it still doesn't necessarily mean that they want you to be your girlfriend or boyfriend. So, yeah, I don't think it means anything anymore. So to delete apps after 3 good dates, or to just, get rid of anyone else that you're talking to after 3 good dates with someone, I don't think it is the way to go. But I do think that you've also got to be really respectful. So when I started dating my partner, we had a really weird first date, really. We were going to, I think he arranged it and we were going to go for drinks. But in the end, his friend called and there was a good local festival on. It was summer, end of August, I think. And he was like, do you fancy going to this festival? Now, it's a festival I've always wanted to go to. So I was like, yeah, it was free tickets. Go with your friends. I was like, friends are going. That's kind of annoying, but hey. So I went and it was good. And we definitely went home together that night, but we were both very drunk. I think we'd literally had 2 bottles of wine each. Ugh, gross. So we were very drunk. And then the next day, he texted me and then there was another date arranged. But, I wasn't like, oh, this is going to go somewhere, because of how our first date was really. I just thought, we both kind of got from it what we needed. We both liked each other. We definitely fancied each other. It was fun, but it is what it is kind of thing. And I was just, I guess, really chilled with dating at this current point in my life. I think work was going so well. I was just in a good space, I guess, that I wasn't needing that constant kind of to be texting someone, to be feeling like someone likes me. I just wasn't requiring that validation, I guess. So anyway, we went on a second date and I was like, oh, this is actually quite cool. And then he suggested a third date and I was like, oh God, this hasn't happened in ages. A third date, wow. It's quite impressive these days. Yeah, if you both actually want to go on a third date, in my personal opinion anyway. So I was like, okay, cool. Anyway, I had gone up to him in real life. There's, again, going to be more in-depth episodes on that kind of thing if you want it. But I went up to him in real life in a wine bar. And when I say wine bar, it was a daytime bar. So it was daylight. It was quite chilled. It was 2 o'clock in the day. Do you know what I mean? Perhaps not as pressured as an evening kind of one where there's lots of people around type thing. So that was kind of the environment anyway. And I'd been talking a lot on my TikTok about going up to people in real life. I'd been giving you guys advice on my TikTok to go up to people in real life. So I was just minding my own business one day, and I was texting my partner. You know, we were texting quite frequently between our dates, and we were due to go on a third date that weekend. Now we're on like a Tuesday. We've been on 2 dates. We're on a Tuesday, and I'm walking on my break after work, and it's sunny, and there was like a tradie painting the outside of a building. And he looked fit. So I kind of like looked at him and I was like, God, he's fit. Then I looked back at him and he had kind of paused painting, and he took one step off his ladder, and he smirked and he smiled, and he looked like he was going to come up to me. So I kind of paused for a second. There was a beat just like that. And then he resumed. So I was like, oh. Then I think I went into a coffee shop or this little museum place, did what I had to do. And on my way back, he caught my eye, and I'm now walking towards him on the same side of the road. So I was like, oh, I've got to say something, because he won't, because they never do. I feel like no one goes up to each other anymore. I'm just going to take him off the team. I talk about it all the time on my TikTok. How can I not do it? You know, got to stick to my own advice. So I was like, oh, are you going to ask for my number or what? Like something so confident. I don't think it was actually that. That is very confident. But it was something along the lines of, are you going to get off your ladder and talk to me or what? It was something playful like that. He stepped down. I was like, wait, before you actually do talk to me, are you single? Because that's one of the first things I always check first. And then he was like, yeah. And then we swapped numbers. And I didn't find out a lot about him. Like, obviously, this is passing in the street. I'm heading back to work. Literally, we must have spoken for like 2 minutes. There were some people driving past that were kind of smirking because it was like at traffic lights and they'd seen what had happened. That was quite fun. Anyway, he texted me straight after. We arranged a walking date literally the next day at lunchtime. When I say a walking date, literally half an hour. We went to a bakery, grabbed a cake and a hot chocolate. I don't think he even had a cake because he was all into his fitness. And so I'm just scoffing this cake, walking. And I learned that he's a few years younger. So he was 25, which is like, yeah, four years younger. And I was just a bit like, bruh. Puts me off. But he was talking about going like Magaluf with his friends. Now he'd never been away, but he's not sure if he's got the finances to do it. And I was just a bit like, oh no, like this feels a lot younger than I am. And even though it wasn't heaps younger, and I'm sure many people my age date 25-year-olds and it's fine. The good thing that I got out of going for this 30-minute walk was it didn't take up a lot of my time. So if you listened to episode 10 of season 2, I spoke about expectations and cutting, cutting dates shorter, but not having huge expectations of like dinner on a first date, and just, cutting it down to just a simple coffee or walk. So it didn't take up much of my time when it was felt like a complete waste, because I was like, this guy is so not for me. I am so not for him. He was quite keen actually, even though I was not for him. Like I just wasn't. I really wasn't for him, and yeah. I think he was just a bit excited that I'd gone up to him. He probably felt quite flattered. Blah 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 blah. So he texted me a few times wanting to meet up, and in the end, I just put, "Look, I'm so sorry. Like I am dating someone else now. I don't feel like we clicked like I would want to," and I did send that text. But what was good about this was that it really showed me that the person I'd been on 2 dates with, which is my current boyfriend, was actually really quite right for me. Like, we're the same age. We had way more things in common, way more ducks in a row. A lot of the things we want in life align. For example, with the 25-year-old, within a 30-minute walk, I found out that, kids were so far away from him. He's 25. He can have like another 10, 15 years before he's even thinking about kids. But I think I was 28 at the time, but now I'm 29. I, cannot realistically be waiting 10 years to start thinking about family. Like, this is in the next few years that I need to be thinking about it. So this, my current partner, I'm sorry, I'm trying so hard to not say his name. My current partner, a lot of our things aligned. Like, I knew also he wanted kids, not right now, but definitely saw himself with kids in the next few years. And so there's just so many things that like came together like a puzzle. And so it was just before going on a third date that I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm gonna like really stick with this person and see how it goes, and like not approach anyone else that I see, to give this guy the ultimate chance. When I say that makes me sound really pretentious, doesn't it? But you know what I mean? When I say ultimate chance, I just mean you could look forever at people, and if you really go out of your way, you could constantly be finding people to go on dates with. At the end of the day, it comes down to a choice that you make about picking one person and choosing them until it doesn't feel right anymore, or you don't like it anymore, or you realise that you don't align. But it is a choice. Like, you do have to make a choice, else you could constantly just be finding new people to date. So I made that choice then to be like, right, I did go up to someone else in real life. I really wanted to do that for me. Like, I was really going into dating this time round. Like, I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. I did that. I kind of went up to, another guy after 2 dates with my current boyfriend. But yeah, before the third day, I was like, right, I really want to give this a chance. So then I wasn't going out of my way to message anyone else that messaged me. And if I did get any DMs on Instagram, whatever, I was like, oh, so sorry, I'm seeing someone. I'm going to see how it goes. If anything happens, like, I'll check back in and see if you're still up for it, if you're not dating someone. It was that kind of vibe. And that worked out really well for me. He's now my boyfriend. And actually, it's quite funny because recently we were talking about this, and I had done a TikTok about having gone up to someone in real life, and he actually only told me the other day, so we're like 8 months into our relationship now, that his friends saw the TikTok. He has a friend that already followed me before we even met, and his friend still followed me and told him about this TikTok. So my boyfriend actually knew that I'd seen someone else before our third date, but didn't say anything about it. I think he just thought, fair enough. But anyway, for some reason it came up the other day and I was like, oh, really? Did you? And he was like, no, like there were a few girls that messaged me and I messaged back, and there was a girl from his past that popped up and he was like, oh yeah, I need to come and see you. And then he said after our like third, fourth date, I realised that like that was so no longer on the cards. And then he had kind of said to this girl after like our second date, yeah, definitely pop to where you are. Like, she lives a little bit away and we'll definitely have to meet up and see you. And I think she checked in like later September when we were very much, well, we weren't official, but we were very much knowing that we were going to be together then. And he actually didn't reply to her. Personally, I think it's good to send a little courtesy, like, I've actually met someone now. Thanks for checking in though, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, he just ignored it, which is fine, I guess. Yeah, that's fine, isn't it? So I think what I'm saying is you don't need to put all your eggs in one basket. And I actually think, I mean, that's just one tiny example. I wasn't really texting around. I've never been that kind of person. But it is the first time ever that I've like considered a first date with someone else and been on a first date with someone else when having been on 2 dates with someone else. And therefore, I will say that tiny half an hour of meeting the 25-year-old was a big example of showing me, actually, I've got someone really great that I've been on 2 dates with. So I need to not look elsewhere because, he aligns with so much of what I want, with all the qualities as well. And I think it was a good reminder of actually what I'm looking for, and a good reminder of actually the person that I'd been on a few dates with had all of those things, so to give it a good chance. So I think it's okay as long as you're being respectful. In my personal opinion, what I don't think is okay is like if you're actually being physical with multiple people at once. I don't think that's good because I think it's unsafe for the other person, and I'm not keen on that, and I'm not sure that would sit okay with me if I was dating someone that was being physical with someone else. In fact, I know that wouldn't sit okay with me. So I wouldn't do that myself because it wouldn't sit okay with me. Obviously, you can do whatever you want, but I think texting and, going on a date, coffee date, a day date where nothing is going to happen, like no kiss or anything, then I think that is absolutely fine. And I think it's a good way to kind of be able to tell if the person you're dating is really right for you or not. Because if you were to go on a date, if you're dating someone and you were to go on a date with someone else and you're like, oh, they're quite exciting too, and you want to go on more dates with them, then, it may mean that other person isn't right for you. If you can just meet someone else and be like, oh, they're cool too. Do you know what I mean? But if you can meet someone else and be like, no, the other person is really, really solid and great, then I think that's, if it can do that for you, then I think that's not a bad thing at all. Well, thank you for listening. And if you got anything from this episode, please like, subscribe, rate it. Please share it with your friends. It's so hard when you're not like a famous person or if you've not been on Love Island to get podcasts like this out there. But I know that I know that you guys get a lot from these episodes. So please do share it. Every little helps. I'm on Instagram as DaisieDatesPodcast. I'm on Instagram as Daisy Bell, and I'm on TikTok as DaisieBell6. You can follow and listen and watch the podcast on all platforms, wherever you go. So wherever you're listening now, it's also available everywhere else. But if you give this a follow or a subscribe, then you can make sure that you never miss an episode, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening and watching.